How do you find a reputable moving company? What should you do to avoid problems? Here's Investigator Doug Numbers in Rockville with some advice.
Hello, I'm Investigator Doug Numbers with the Montgomery County Office of Consumer Protection. I'm here today at one of our local moving companies to talk about moving. You know, it's summer, moving season has started, and people are going to be moving. With me today is Louis Campion from the Maryland Movers Conference to answer some questions on moving and hopefully educate you all on how to have a successful move. Thanks for being here, Louis.
Thanks, Doug.
Well, let's start with, what are the two different types of moves in the industry?
Well, there are really two styles of moves. One is an interstate move. That's a move that takes place and starts in one state and then ends in another state. So, for example, if you move from Maryland to Iowa, that'd be an interstate move, and that's a heavily regulated move by the federal government. They have significant consumer protections in place for those types of moves. Now, the other type of move is what we call a local or intrastate move, and that would take place wholly, for example, here in Maryland, where the starting point and the end point are both in Maryland. Now, Maryland is actually what we consider to be an unregulated state because it has a very limited regulation and laws pertaining to the household goods moving industry, and for that reason, it can be a little difficult for a consumer to make sure that they're hiring a reputable mover that they can trust.
How about, what about estimates? Everybody's told to get 3 estimates when they move. Is that a good idea?
Absolutely. We always encourage you to get 3 estimates, and the reason for that is very simple. If you get only 2 estimates, for example, you really don't know if those estimates are far apart, which one is realistic. If you get 3 estimates and you see one is significantly higher or significantly lower than the other 2, then you'll know that there's something about that estimate that you need to take a closer look at.
As to getting an estimate, what is the best way?
The ideal circumstance for an estimate is to have the moving company actually come out and physically inspect your goods and give you a written estimate at that time. Now, a lot of people want to get phone estimates. With the rise of the internet, they love to go to the internet for an estimate, and there are a couple of problems with that, and that is that, one, it's based on what you tell the moving company you have to move. And there can be miscommunication there about what in fact you do have, how large your goods are, and then in the end you get an estimate that is not nearly as accurate as if the moving company comes to your site and performs that inspection. The other thing is with a phone estimate or an internet-based estimate, really all you're getting there is an hourly rate, and even that is just a ballpark. So they're going to give you an hourly rate, but they're not going to be able to tell you in truth how long that move should take. They're not going to be able to really accurately determine the size of the equipment that they need to bring, the truck they need to bring in, for example. Okay. They're not going to have seen the residents, so they're not going to know how easy it is to pull a truck in and out of that location. Whereas if you do a physical estimate of the goods, a reputable company is going to be pretty accurate with its estimate when it sees the goods.
Okay. Yeah, one of the biggest complaints we get in the office a lot of times nowadays is the internet estimate.
Absolutely. I mean, with internet transactions, the internet's a great tool for doing research. It gives you a lot of exposure to a lot of different companies very easily. Unfortunately, in the moving industry, it's sort of had the reverse effect. The most common tactic for a rogue operator is that they're going to give you a lowball estimate because they want you to book that move with them. They'll give misleading advertising, false promises that aren't consistent with what a reputable company will be offering.
Louis, what's the difference between, say, an estimate and the bill of lading?
Great question, Doug. The estimate is actually just a projection, of what your costs will be. Now, when a person comes through and they walk through and they give you an estimate, you may say that you're going to pack this item or that item, and then, you may just not get to it. You're busy planning your move, you're getting ready, and so then on the morning of your move, when the movers arrive, you actually haven't signed a contract with them yet. Your contract is your bill of lading, and at that point in time, that moving company is going to walk through, see all of the goods that you have, see what you did pack or that you didn't pack, and then give you the true cost of your move based on what you have or haven't done. That bill of lading, you want to read it because it is your contract, and it's going to specify things like what are the terms and conditions that this move is being performed under, what's the moving company's liability for damages, how long do you have to file a claim. All of those things you want to be familiar with when you sign that bill of lading right before the movers initiate actually moving your goods.
So, Louis, how does a consumer go about finding a reputable mover?
Well, the easiest thing I can suggest, Doug, is that they actually just go to our website, which is www.mdmovers.org. And there we have a list of several reputable companies like the ones we're here at today who are in our registered mover program. Those companies have voluntarily come forward and agreed to sort of hold themselves out to a higher standard. They go through a qualification process. They agree to abide by a code of ethics. Their bills of lading and their other documents are all evaluated to make sure they're in legal compliance. And they agree to adhere to an arbitration program in the event that there's a dispute that a customer and the company can't resolve.
Louis, I want to thank you for coming. You gave wonderful information for consumers on moving.
Thanks, Doug. We appreciate it.